Hey everyone on YouTube. So I'm going to do a follow-up video to the first brush versus brushless motor drill test that I did before. This time I'm going to be using two Milwaukees. I have both versions. I have the brushed version and the brushless version. Brushless version, obviously from Milwaukee, they call their fuel line. So I just wanted to run some tests here, show you what the differences are. The brush line, this is going to be the 2462-22 drill. It can be had for, right now, actually it's on sale, $79. It comes with the drill, obviously, the charger, two batteries, 1.5 amp hour batteries versus the fuel, which has larger batteries. The construction on it's good. It has now a hook that's integrated into the handle, which is really nice. So you get that, but you also get the sparks of the brush motor. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see those. So we're going to test that. We have also the fuel line, which is obviously, this is the brushless motor. So it's a nice drill. It definitely is. No sparks, obviously, because it's a brushless motor. So it's electronically controlled armature inside. Has a little fan there. Actually produces, it has quite a bit of cooling on there because it has a good little fan on the end there that cools it off. Also, the other upside is that you get a 2 amp hour battery, which is, obviously gives you, it's going to give you more runtime. On top of the fact that the brushless motor itself is going to give you more runtime, which is nice. So, as you can see, it's better construction, better handle. Feels heavier, but it's not. This is actually lighter than the brushed version. So, 2.2 pounds, 2.3 pounds. 2.3 pounds, 2.2 pounds. So, slight difference there, but just from feel, hand grip, and everything, it's like the difference between holding a BB gun and holding a real gun. This is actually a very nice feeling, but I want to hear, so you can hear the sound. You can hear the difference in how they sound as well. The other upside, obviously, to this is that you get everything the same. Obviously, you get two batteries, a charger, case. Fuel line cases have a black bottom versus a total top and bottom red that you get on the brush version. So that's a good way of indicating which one you have. Or to figure out if you're getting a brushless motor or not. On the top you have a controller that will choose between 1 and 2, which will light up when you go. So you have a low speed if you're just drilling, driving screws, so you don't want, overdrive them. And then you have a high speed if you're, for a heavier duty impact. Same thing, got your little grip there, which actually is reversible on both of them. You can put it on either side depending on which way you like to have it. But everything else is the same. The controls are the same. You have the same light that lights up and stays on for a little bit. I've liked the Milwaukees. I actually like their 12-volt versions better than anyone else's. Just because they're powerful and they seem to last. I've actually had this one for about 5 years now. And this is the earliest version of the M12 line. This is actually only a 1 amp hour battery when they first came out. They've actually, obviously better battery technology has gotten better, and still works great. It still has the same indicator and everything, which is nice. Obviously, the newest versions have that as well. When you run it, it tells you how much battery power you have left. It's not indicated on the battery itself, but on the tool itself. So, I wanted to start this off by using the handy old iPhone here and running a timer. We're just going to do a free run, and just to show you what the difference is on runtime, because a lot of people, runtime matters. I mean, for the person using this as a do-it-yourselfer, not a huge deal, especially because these batteries charge in 30 minutes, which is excellent. So if you do have downtime, usually you can swap batteries. You don't want to do it too many times because you don't want to overheat any of your batteries, but the longer the runtime, the better, because if you can get more runtime, then you can go longer between changing these batteries. So let's start here by doing the free run test, and that's going to require some zip ties here. These batteries are fully charged. I just checked them both, then put them both on the charger and double checked. So just going to take a zip tie here and do this on both of them. I'm not going to tighten this all the way up yet. Get that ready. This is just going to say, obviously when you put these under load, they may change the runtimes, and we'll test that later. But for the most part, I've used them both. They both have really good runtime for a 12-volt. Almost dropped it. See, that's actually good because the weight of this is all on the top, so when it flips down, it's actually kind of easy to catch if you drop it, versus the ones that you don't know which way, they're kind of like a football, you don't know which way they're going to go. This one, you know exactly where it's going to go. You can actually catch it pretty easy. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get this timer ready, and as soon as I can hit start, it's going to be a little bit off. Let's start the brushless first, because I know that one's going to last longer. So, obviously I'll cut the video here so we don't have to sit here and watch this for a while. But I'll bring it back when we're ready. So, alright, so we're still running. I'm actually kind of shocked. I expected it not to be quite this long, but good lord. So I stood them up because they started groaning a little bit in the box, so stood them up, but they're still running, so I'll come back when one of them starts to die. Okay, so the brush one just stopped. Good lord, that is pretty damn good. So, sorry, I just want to put a sweater on. It's actually pretty cold out here. Probably should add that as well. Also, I forgot to tell you what the model number on the brushless was. The model number on the brushless M12 fuel is 2462-22. And that one's $179, $169, depends on your market. So $79, so it's about $100 difference. We'll see if it's worth it to anyone to pay that extra $100. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off our little tie there. It technically has a little bit left, because even though it's shut off, yeah, you see it blinking. It's toast for now. So we'll go ahead and pull that battery off. Thankfully, we have our next battery up. You got to remember too. Remember I told you this is a 1.5 amp battery versus a 2 amp battery. So I'll set this to the side. The heads obviously get hot because the impact mechanics are moving inside, so there's friction. Friction creates heat, so not too hot. I can hold it with my hand. It's not going to burn me. So, but you probably do see the difference. I mean, the shaft length is quite a bit longer than the fuel, so tighter spots. Obviously, the fuel will be much better because this is pretty long. I mean, even in comparison, I'll pull out the wall, and this is an 18 volt, and you'll see the difference here. Let's see if I can get it in front of the camera. The 18 volt's even shorter. It's obviously a larger motor that's on there and everything. But yeah, this is going to be more for someone to use at home more than professionally, because you get into too many tight spots and you won't be able to use it. So I'll come back when we see the brushless finish off. So the battery on the brush versus brushless, it was a third larger. It's 2 amp versus amp and a half. So it technically should have cut out by now. We should have, because we ran out on the brush motor around 20 minutes. We're at 28 minutes and this sucker's still running. So I'm expecting pretty soon. It sounds like it's starting to slow down, so we'll come back. Alright, so I hear the motor starting to wane a little bit. It sounds like it's slowing down. The heat on the head is cooler than it was on the brush motor, I did notice. It's warm, but it's not super duper hot. So, you can hear it. It's coming. It's funny, actually, it looks like it's at a cutout right at 30 minutes. Which is downright impressive. I mean, everyone should say their prayers to the battery gods, because this is downright impressive. 30 minutes. But you can hear it, it's almost like they timed this perfectly. I say I don't think it's going to make 31. I also made a note of the time when I plugged in the other battery to the charger, just to measure the charger time. So that's been going for a little bit, and I'll get back to you on that as well. You hear that waning? Let's see if we make 31. I don't think we're going to. She's not going to make it. That was it. Okay. Stop. Stop. I would say that was around 30 minutes and 40 seconds. Took me 4 seconds to click that. So anyways, so that's done. I can grab it with my hand. It's warm, but it's not hot. So actually, the motor assembly itself is not hot at all. So is it worth it to get 10 more minutes of runtime? I think so. I mean, there's $100, like I said, $100 difference in cost here between these two. So let's just do some more testing. So I'm going to pull that battery off and obviously take down the notation of what time it is. And then we'll also run a test on how long it takes to charge these. So it's 1:48 p.m. Let's go ahead and put that on the charger and I'll get back to you. Okay, so both finished charging. The 1.5 amp hour battery took half hour just as advertised. I was actually quite surprised. It was right on the money. Like literally 30 minutes was done. When it took it off, it wasn't warm at all. It was actually not bad. After charging, it's barely warm, so no big deal there. On the 2 amp hour battery, took a third longer. Took 40 minutes. So I thought that was kind of funny. That it get a third more power, it took a third more time. So that wasn't too bad either. And actually, the head's still warm to the touch, but it's not hot. Same with this one. This one's actually, even though it's been running not running for a longer amount of time, it's actually warmer than the other one. So the next test we're going to do is going to be a straight power test, and what I'm going to do is actually use a torque wrench and torque down a bolt, and technically this should have 100 foot-pounds of torque. I'm not going to test it at its max, but I'm going to go probably 80 foot-pounds of torque. And this one has, if I remember right, has something like, I want to say 60 or 70 foot-pounds of torque. Might be a little less than that. So we're going to see how much brute force they have to break things loose. Because I know a lot of people use these in automotive. I use them on cars occasionally. I mean, it's good to be able to just grab the smaller drill just because of it being lightweight and just not as awkward to hold in weird positions. So it's actually nice to be able to grab one of these versus a pneumatic that's attached to something. So that'll be our next test, and that'll be coming up soon. Okay, so day 2, I gave these things a day to refreshen themselves. Now we're going to do the brute force test, and we're not going to hold back here. So I'm using a 1/2-inch shank to a 1/2-inch impact socket. So this is really going to test these things to their max. It's a 22 millimeter socket. So next thing we're going to do is take the old torque wrench and go down to 80 foot-pounds. We'll do that now. So 2 bolts here. Okay, that's 80 foot-pounds. And I'll do the bottom the same. Okay, so there's 80 foot-pounds on both those bolts. And obviously we'll start with the fuel. This is actually a jig check. It's a 1200 inch-pounds, so that's 120 foot-pounds of torque. And it was about right on this one. It's 70 foot-pounds of torque on the brushed motor. So let's go ahead. Now, what I don't like about this, and I think DeWalt does a better job, is this is not a quick connector. I think Rigid has a better one too, because if you just stick it in there, it doesn't do anything. You have to pull forward, and then it locks. So they can improve that, but anyways, that looks like a monster, right? Alright, let's see what happens. It's 80 foot-pounds. Here we go. It broke it, and it took it loose. That's pretty damn impressive. Now, do I think the brushed one will do that? No. So let's take a look. So we'll go to the bottom bolt. I can already tell you, I think these are around 3,000 impacts per minute, but the impacts on these are shorter than a standard one, so they're smaller impacts. So let's see. Whoa, impressed. It broke it loose too. Now, I don't think you're really going to use these for anything over 80 pounds, so I don't know about tightening these up anymore and trying again, but maybe I should see if I can go anymore. That's impressive. Hooked up to a 1/4 inch shank like that and to a 1/2 inch. That is pretty damn impressive. Let's see. And everything slides apart okay. Because a lot of times what you end up having is this will tweak here in the shank or this will lock in the head, but they both came out really easily. I mean, if you keep these oiled, generally that won't happen, but still, it is known to happen. So let's take that off. Let's crank this sucker up to 100 foot-pounds and see what happens. Technically, the brush motor should not be able to break it loose at 100. So let's see what happens. I don't want to obviously mess these threads up too much, but I bought this at Costco, so if it does break, let's take it back. All right, these are grade 8 bolts. So this is a 310 jack, so it should handle the torque fine. Maybe not. I broke it. That's awesome. Well, I think that ends the test. Not a big deal. As long as one side's on here, I'm not too worried about it. Jack was old anyways. So I'll put that back tight. But trying to take that up to 100 pounds, snapped it. And that's a grade 8. You know, it's a nice looking bolt. It's not a cheap bolt. But, you know, it is what it is. So I hope everyone had a good laugh over that broken bolt. So I feel like maybe you should try maybe breaking loose a lug nut. Now these are factory tightened. Actually, this car's pretty new, so I actually haven't rotated the tires yet. So these haven't been broken loose at all. This is a 19mm socket. So let's give these a shot. Let's see if it'll break these loose. That'd be pretty impressive. So anyways, let's lock that in. Locked. Reverse. There we go. Yep, it broke it loose. I just can't say too much about how good these have gotten. That's crazy. Let's see if this one does it. Ready? Okay, well that proves it. Brush did not break that one loose. So, and I don't want to try it anymore because it's putting too much pressure on the shank. So, let's not do that. But anyways, the brushless did break it. So, that's more the result I was looking for. We'll go ahead and tighten this up. I'll torque it down a little bit. Let's get this back on there. You can hear the power of this damn thing. This is more powerful than, obviously. I wanted to make sure that people knew there was a difference as far as the power goes between these two. Thankfully I have a good shank here and it looks like it didn't get damaged at all. But anyways, you don't want to do that on a regular basis, but if you're in an emergency situation, it's actually good to know that you could whip one of these out and do it. So like I said, still stand by this one for the person that's going to use these more or less every day or every other day. Number one, for this runtime. Number two, because just the brute force power that thing has. Casual user, this will be more than enough. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope we had a good laugh over that broken bolt. And have a good day.